Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Pro Wrestling Logic YouTube channel and the SmackDown review for this past Friday, which I suppose would be the 24th, so that's 22nd of January 2021. It's not as bad as it normally is, but it's still not a good show. Of course, when have they put on a consistently good show for any of the WWE brands for more than a week here, week there sort of thing within the last couple of years? Anyway, so it opens with Reigns and Pierce doing their angle from last week. Reigns and Heyman come out. They get negative chants, which is a good sign. Reigns noted Owens wouldn't appear tonight because he said he wouldn't. He doesn't like the phrase card subject to change. Reigns is angry that Pierce got out of the match because of an injury. He said he took a serious health risk during the pandemic that kept him out of the ring. Reigns talked about his injuries, noted his back hurts from carrying the company. That was a good line, I got to admit it. Reigns says his back injury might keep him out of the Royal Rumble. Pierce interrupted and said things are getting out of control. Reigns got in Pierce's face, and then Reigns points out that he never complains about injuries. He makes fun of Pierce complaining and says he's not surprised. Pierce never made it in WWE. Heyman thought it was funny and started laughing. Pierce didn't like it when Heyman laughed. Pierce said he'd back down from Reigns but won't take it from Heyman. Reigns notes that he disrespected Heyman, which means he disrespected Reigns. Heyman gets in Pierce's face and talks about the history with the Reigns family. Heyman decides to give Pierce a huge main event for tonight. Heyman challenges Pierce to a match for later tonight. Yes, a manager angle with a non-wrestler is your main event for the evening. Yes, they're doing an angle. Yes, it sends them off TV before the Royal Rumble. No, it's not good. Anyway, Heyman decides to give that main event, which is himself versus Pierce. A lot of people saying this is a good opening segment. Reigns is good in the role, but Kevin Owens is what he's had for the last several months now, and even if they blow it off at the Rumble with Owens winning the championship, it's still going to come off flat because he's just going to lose it again at Mania. There's no long-term storytelling. There's no reason to care about what happens week to week and month to month in matches. Anyway, Cole and Graves run down the lineup for tonight. Sami Zayn interrupts. Zayn brings his documentary crew, handcuffs himself to the barricade. They go to break the comeback. And Zayn notes he got cheated last week, and Cruz didn't get caught cheating. Asuka's music hit, and she cuts him off. Zayn remains handcuffed to the barricade for several segments and matches, which is just... It's a harken back to Bobby Heenan, but when Bobby Heenan did it, it was funny. Zayn isn't over enough for it to really mean anything in the long term. Anyway, here, WWE Women's Tag Champ Asuka and Charlotte defeat the Riot Squad in the non-title match. They show Natalya and Tamina Snuka watching in the back. Please, somebody tell me why we're supposed to care about the Riot Squad at this point. They haven't been built well. Why are we supposed to care about Billie Kay, who's back with them? She hasn't been built well. And why are we supposed to care about Natalya and Tamina, who've both been around 10 years, if not longer? They haven't been built well either. None of these women are being used appropriately. So the champions have the early advantage. They isolate Riot on their side of the ring. Kay jumps up, tries to distract Flair. Flair sends Riot to the floor, tries to drag Kay into the ring. That doesn't work. Morgan gets the tag and hits a flying crossbody on Flair for near fall. Morgan has a lot of talent. They've just wasted it completely. Back from the break, Flair is in control of Morgan. Cole notes that Morgan was impressive during the break. That's awesome to take a break and just tell everyone they missed stuff watching commercials they don't care about. Way to go, Michael Cole. Anyway, Riot Squad takes over, isolates Flair in the corner. Sami Zayn's ringside, handcuffed to the barricade still. Flair recovers, hits a suplex on Morgan. Asuka tags herself in. Morgan fights back. Riot Squad regains control for a minute. Riot Squad comes back up on Asuka. Kay distracts the referee. Asuka hits the hip attack on Morgan, sends her into Kay and Kay onto the floor. Flair hits a natural selection for the win. Basically, Cole tries to push that Kay's the reason they didn't win. I don't think anyone cares that much. Cole and Graves run down more of the card that very few are going to care about. And in the back, Kay tries to apologize to the Riot Squad. Her apology isn't really taken seriously. Kay tries to make it up and get them both entered into the Royal Rumble. Riot Squad turns down Kay and noted they're better when she's not there. Daniel Bryan makes his way out to the ring. He talks about the uncertainty of the Royal Rumble match, notes that there are many challenges in the Rumble, but the winner receives a title shot at WrestleMania. He says he did a great career, but never won the Rumble. Cesaro's music hits. They've had a match not too long ago, haven't they? Bryan and Cesaro. Anyway, he notes that he can speak 5 different languages, and he acknowledges Zayn still handcuffed at the barricade. Cesaro said he won the first Andre Battle Royal. Bryan didn't forget that he lost to Cesaro last week. Oh, it was last week. See, that's the thing. I remember bits and pieces of matches, but I have no frame of reference of how long ago they were or whether they matter. Like, in the last 7 or 8 years, and I've watched WWE at least 50%, if not in the last year, probably or almost 2 years, probably at 80 to 90%. Nothing memorable happens on these shows. Anyway, Bryan challenges Cesaro to a match right now. Cesaro turns it down. Bryan he says he's sick of having to prove himself. He then made an open challenge to anyone in the back. Dolph Ziggler, his music hits. He walks out. Ziggler promised to win the Royal Rumble and praised his tag team partner Robert Roode. Ziggler told Bryan it's not 2014 anymore and accepted Cesaro's challenge. Ziggler's another guy who really has been wasted completely. And, I mean, he's getting older. He's been around for 10, 15 years. And there's another guy. They had something with him. They gave him the World Championship. They gave him the Love Triangle things with AJ Lee back a ways. But he never went anywhere because they never followed through on it. Bryan joins on commentary. Cesaro and Ziggler have a nice little mini wrestling school match in the sense of it's short and it's not going to matter in a week. Anyway, Cesaro gains early advantage with an uppercut in the corner. He hits a giant swing. Ziggler recover. They trade pins. Cesaro gets hit with a zigzag by Ziggler. Ziggler slows the pace down with submissions, including a sleeper. Ziggler counters with a Rana, and then Cesaro hits the neutralizer and wins the match. They're actually building him towards something. Who says it's not killed by March? Anyway, good to see Cesaro at least on a winning streak for a couple of weeks. SmackDown Women's Champion Sasha Banks defeats Reginald with Carmella. I don't like the fact they're doing man versus women stuff, but that's just a personal preference. Carmella sits at ringside, drinks champagne. Reginald uses moves to avoid Banks, almost like they're doing things from the circus, and you expect the ringmaster to come out, not Steve Austin either. Reginald gives Banks a flower at the start. Reginald blocks a slap from Banks. Banks nails him with the other hand. Reginald avoids Banks with a series of rolls. Banks then got in Carmella's face and slapped the glass out of her hand. Banks attempts the backstabber. Reginald rolls out. He lifts Banks in the air, hits a second Meteora, and the finish comes when Banks locks on the bank statement for the win. This is completely pointless. It doesn't make me want to see Carmella and Sasha anymore. It doesn't make me care about Reginald anymore. It's just there to fill time. In the back, Heyman gloats that their plan worked out perfectly. He said he did what Reigns wanted him to do. Reigns notes this isn't the plan. He hired Heyman to do a job, but always expected him to be a man. Reigns told him to handle his business and be a man. So, I mean, if this is going somewhere with the tension between Heyman and Reigns, I'm all for it. But if if Reigns is just gonna bully Heyman week after week, I'm not a fan. Intercontinental Championship match: Big E and Apollo Crews ended without a decisive winner. Big E got in Sami Zayn's face as he enters the ring. Match was fine until the finish. Big E hits a belly-to-belly suplex, gains an advantage. Cruz hits a standing moonsault for near fall, follows up with a rolling German suplex, but Big E fights out of those. Cruz blocks a superplex and then hits some headbutts and a missile dropkick. Zayn takes off the handcuffs, jumps in the ring, nails Cruz with a haluva kick, and gave one to Big E as well. I guess this is going to a three-way between Cruz, Big E, and Zayn at some point. Michael Cole and Corey Graves noted that Roman Reigns left the Thunderdome and won't be around for Paul Heyman's match. Owens got the promo from earlier today and notes that Reigns can't beat him without help from his family. Owens talks about tattoos and his grandfathers. He admitted he admired both of them and is disappointed they never get to see him make it to the WWE. He won't stop fighting, he says. He'll be the last man standing at the Royal Rumble. Maybe they're doing a last man standing match and I've forgotten. In the back, Street Profits are walking around the hallway. They approached Sonya Deville. Ziggler walks away as they walked up to Deville. They congratulated her on her new job in office. They requested a return match for the titles. Deville turned them down because of Montez Ford's injury. She told them to stick to doing humor segments in the back and let other teams have a chance. She promised them a match once he heals. This is death. I like the next segment though. Obstacle Course challenge: Bianca Belair defeats Bayley. If they don't blow Bianca Belair, she could be a major star. Male, female, doesn't matter. She could be a major crossover star. Cole hosts and introduces the participant. Bayley grabs the mic from Cole and basically tells him to go away. Bayley walks Belair through the course and pointed out that Chad Gable is going to help out. Bayley makes the course more challenging for Belair, including having to carry Otis on her shoulders. Belair beat Bayley in time and dominated the course. Bayley jumps Belair from behind and then they do a brawl. Bayley then drops a basketball net on Belair. In the back, Rey Mysterio gives Dominic last-minute pointers for his match with King Corbin, and Dominic is worried about his ability to fight this off. And then we completely kill all momentum for a new guy as King Corbin defeats Dominic Mysterio. I'm sorry, if I worked for WWE, Corbin would be fired. He's a great enhancement talent from the 80s that has a body. But he should not be featured in this type of stuff. He has no redeeming qualities. The best work he ever did was 90-second matches in NXT when they were getting to bring him up. Other than that, he's more basic than Jose Luis Rivera and the Brooklyn Brawler. He doesn't have any redeeming quality as a performer. Maybe as a person, who knows? But as a performer, no way. And to have him defeat Dominic Mysterio, who could be a Latin crossover star, who could bring in a younger demographic. It makes no sense. Corbin and Mysterio have, I guess, what's a passable match if you don't care that you're killing one of the few younger talents you have. Mysterio nails a dropkick, gains an early advantage. He tries a plancha, gets caught, and then gets hit with a clothesline. Corbin sends Mysterio into the corner and hits several punches. Corbin tries the end of days. Mysterio fights back, sets up 619. Corbin blocks that, and then Corbin hits the end of days for the win. Basically, the deal is Michael Cole implies that Mysterio might want to start doing things his father's way. Paul Heyman heads towards the ring, doesn't seem dressed to compete. This is just an angle. Heyman versus Adam Pearce does not even turn into a match. Heyman had taped his fist up walk toward the ring, trips on the steps, basically doing some comedy. Heyman gets in the ring, pretends to have an injury. Heyman then noted that card is subject to change. Roman Reigns' music hits and walks to the ring. Nails Pierce with a Superman punch. Pierce tries to fight back. Reigns hits a low blow, tosses Pierce into the screens and into the stands. Reigns then puts Pierce in the stands. Owens in a hoodie jumps in on Reigns. They fight down the ramp and into the ring. Owens avoids Superman punch, hits a stunner, and referees try to break things up. Owens hits a second stunner and a pop-up powerbomb through the announce table, and SmackDown goes off the air. This is fine. I mean, if I believed they were going to stay committed to Kevin Owens and do something with it, I'd be all for it. But I don't believe that. I haven't believed that in months, and it's weak. I did a review of this show in 16 minutes, and I still feel like I took too long because most of WWE's product is utter trash. Anyway, we'll be back with more right after this.